you've heard of it. So basically, you're all quite new. Right, okay. To start off, when you place a magnet on the body, two things generally occur. It creates a dual reaction. First of all, there's a speed up of the blood supply around the body, and that in turn brings more oxygen into an area. And most people use magnet therapy for pain relief. So what we're trying to do effectively is balance the body. So where you've got a trauma, whether it's a direct blow like a sports injury, whether it's arthritic, you know, where the joints are inflamed, whatever type of pain you've got, normally magnet therapy can do something with it. But what it does, where you've got that pain, you've got more acid in that area, so the body is slightly unbalanced. And what putting a magnet on the body does, it draws away the excess acid and brings more alkaline, balances the body. So basically magnets don't really heal as such, they just help to balance out the body. So that's the concept. It's a little bit more involved in that, but I don't really want to go too far because otherwise it complicates it. So if you think of it with that strategy in mind, how effective is it? Well, for example, you can't get an effect with a fridge magnet, for example. A fridge magnet is measured in Gauss, the same as every other magnet is actually, but the Gauss rating of a fridge magnet is very low, something in the region maybe of 100 Gauss, 200 Gauss. The stronger ones are probably up to 300. What you need on the body is a therapeutic magnet, which is something like this. And as there's only a small amount of people here, we can hand these around and just show you. They don't weigh very much, and they don't look that appealing, because you think, oh, that's quite light. But if I tell you again that a fridge magnet is around about 300 Gauss, these are between 1200 and 1500 Gauss. So they're quite strong. Show you how strong they are. If I put one that side of my hand and the other one, it will actually hold it. So it's actually going through the width of my hand to hold. And if I turn that, should flip that over like that. So it does actually show how strong they are. But if you want to pass them round, as I say, they're just. Now you would have fixed those onto the body with a good quality surgical tape, and they would stay on the body, and that's what happens when they snap. That's right. So what you're looking for is, just be careful they don't sort of snap on you, because if they snap on your fingers then it will hurt. What you're looking for is to get a good Gauss rating. As I say, there are some that are stronger than that. They are what are known as neodymium magnets, as opposed to ceramic magnets, which I'll talk about in a moment. And they're the most strongest earth magnets that you can get. So you can't get anything stronger than them. But they're completely safe and effective to use. There's absolutely no drugs, nothing. We sell those in a pack of 2 that come like that in a CD case. However, some people just use one, and if you've got the one, we suggest that you just put it on what I call the ouch factor. So if you say you've got a problem with your arm, then stick the one right on the real pain. With the 2, they tend to run and they tend to help each other. So you'd place one above and one below, about 3 to 4 inches apart, so that you could get the magnet doing its job from both ends. So they will run about 3 or 4 inches, and they'll penetrate about 3 or 4 inches as well. So it penetrated through my hand, so it might be just sort of 2-3 inches. So it's good that it works not only into the body, but it works along the body as well. Okay, you say, so what's the point of that? Well, when I get them back in a moment, we'll just show. We do the biggest thing when kids see that is to try and stop them playing with them, because I, you know, I only did that just to show you sort of the effect. With magnets, this will show up as a black dot. So through that paper, that iron filing sheet, it shows up as a black dot, and butterfingers today, and if I move it along it will still show there. Okay, so the only way we can measure how these things react is with something like this Gauss meter. This is a point that I want to make, because you cannot touch, smell, taste, eat, whatever with magnet therapy. The only way of knowing that it's doing any good is showing through demonstration, and that's what I'm hoping to do today. Now, for this meter, where the probe is there, to pick this up, it's got to go quite close to pick it up. So if I switch it on, and then it will just zero, but when the magnet goes quite close, you can see and hear there is. I'll take it away, it doesn't recognise it. But if I now move that magnet in the same position, it will pick it up. So you say, well, what's the reasoning behind that? Well, when a magnetic field is moving, it will throw the magnetic field further into the body. For example, I have a magnetic bracelet on, and this magnetic bracelet is very loose. If it was tight, it would still do a job, but when it's loose, it moves up and down my arm as I move in the normal course of my day. So that will throw that magnetic field further into my body, even without me realising it. And this is, in my mind anyway, quite a nice little piece of jewellery. Until you take it off and look at the back of it, you wouldn't actually know that that was a magnetic bracelet. The way you know it is, again, with the iron filing sheet, shows up the black dots. So one little thing about magnetic bracelets, one of the reasons that it gets a bad name is market stall holders sell these sometimes very, very cheaply, and the magnets in them are not that strong, but where they also cheat a little bit as well is that they might put one magnet in every other link, therefore they save money. Now that doesn't help you, the consumer. So you're looking for, first of all, if you're buying one, to say what's the Gauss rating. If the vendor can't tell you what the Gauss rating is, be very suspicious. Secondly, you need to look at it and see if it's got a magnet in every link. If it hasn't, then basically buyer beware, I would say. And again, I can pass this around so you can just have a little look at it, but it is just like any normal bracelet would look like. We can actually change the length of these by taking links out, or in some cases putting extra links in to fit the size of the person. We normally say measure your wrist really tightly and then add on about ½ an inch. So you're more than welcome to have a look at that and pass that one round. I don't need that back at the moment. And what I'll do at the end, I'll take any questions that you may have. But one of the things that is very important, apart from, like I say, the Gauss rate, and think of it really as an electric light bulb. If you put a 40-watt light bulb in your lounge, it wouldn't be very strong, wouldn't give you that much light. So you wouldn't do that, you put a more powerful bulb in. And it's the same with magnets. If you want it to affect you in any way, health-wise that is, then you need what I've said, that 12 to 1500 sort of Gauss rating. Now, a lot of people don't understand why you use magnet therapy, apart from pain relief. And someone go, oh, yeah, you know, it's all in the mind. But done a lot of studies with regard to it, and I can tell you it's not just in the mind. But one of the things that we find people, to start with, are very, very sceptical until they try it, and then they tend to find, yeah, generally it works. We've got about an 80% success rate with people who use it. So that's 4 out of every 5, so that's quite high. Don't know why it does for those and it doesn't for the others. All I can put it down to is that the body is slightly different. But you don't have to have anything wrong with you to use magnet therapy. In fact, now this is true, but it might just be a coincidence. Since I've worn my bracelet, and I've not just had that one, I've had a couple of others, must be 7, 8 years now, I haven't had a bad cold or flu since. And that just might be luck of the draw. I'm not saying it isn't. But bear in mind that I used to get at least one bad bout of flu a year, sometimes 2, that would necessitate me being off work. So coming back to the basis of it, you can wear it for just natural well-being. But a lot of people use the bracelets, especially if they've got problems with their fingers or in their hands, with dexterity problems. So how did I get involved with it? Very briefly, and I won't bore you with it, but it's worth just mentioning it. I got involved with it as the biggest sceptic out. You couldn't have told me that I was going to be running a company with magnets. 10, 12 years ago, I just would have laughed you away. And sad as it may seem, I was flicking through the shopping channels one day with nothing much to do, and I came across a shopping channel called Ideal World. You may have heard of it. It's second to QVC, and they were selling this type of therapy on their shows. And they were getting all these people ringing in, making all these wonderful claims. Oh, I've tried it and it's lowered my blood pressure. I've used it. It's really helped with my arthritis, etc., etc. And I thought, what a load of bunkum. But I, at the time, had quite high blood pressure, and my doctor was finding it very difficult with drugs to balance me out properly, and tried all sorts of different things. So they were offering a 90-day money-back guarantee. No quibble, take it away for 90 days. If it doesn't work, send it back, and all it'll cost me is the postage and packing. And I thought, too good to be true, it's worth it. Because there were people going on there saying, yeah, you know, it does lower blood pressure, you know, especially if you've got high blood pressure. Very sceptical, I bought my bracelet. Now, I put it on when I got it, and bear in mind I monitor my own blood pressure at home with my monitor. And after a couple of days I took my blood pressure and I thought, that's strange, it's come down a bit, 4 or 5 points. Took the bracelet off, put it away, checked it again the next day and it had gone up again. I thought, oh, it's a coincidence. What else have I done? Come to think of it, I hadn't. But, put it back on again, took it again, it had come down. So I thought, well, there's something in this, I don't quite know what's going on, but I haven't done anything else to cause this. You know, I haven't changed my diet, I hadn't done anything else to, you know, to really affect me apart from the bracelet. So, what did I do? Well, at the time I was working at the airport, at Gatwick Airport. I was on my feet a lot, and can you find me some insoles in there? There should be some up there. And what I did, because I got really, really tired feet, again, I decided to order some insoles. There's probably a pair in there. Put them in fact, I've got a pair in now. These are probably a little bit worse for wear, so I won't pass these round, but we will pass a new pair round. But just to give you some idea, thanks. And again, this is where the iron filing sheet comes in. Now these have been in my feet, or in my shoes rather, for quite a while, and you can start to see that they're fraying a little bit. But when you put the iron filing sheet over, it runs the whole length of that insole. And it runs the whole length, both sides. So it's what is known as bipolar, so it doesn't matter which way up these insoles are worn, it hits literally every reflexology point in the foot. So while I'm walking around, I'm actually getting the benefit from the magnetic field. Now the first day I wore them, at the end of the day I was in agony. I was in agony anyway because I was on my feet most of the day, but I really was. And I thought, God, these are terrible. Because if you look at them, they're very hard on the surface. Although they're a little bit pliable, they don't really lend like some of them do to the cushioning that you can get in some forms of insoles that you put in your feet. These are quite rigid. But I can honestly say, by the end of the next day, all my foot pain, or feet pain, had gone. And I thought, this is incredible. Because my body had sort of got used to that. Now again, with this new pair, again you can see it hits all the way through. But without this, you wouldn't know any different. You just go, well, they're just a pair of insoles, which on the outset, that's all they look to be. We're going to do a little test with these in a moment, hopefully. But if you want to just pass those around so you can just have a quick look, you'll see. Now, what will happen with those insoles is that the magnetic compound that's inside them will never wear out. What will wear out first is the fact that the material will start to crumble, which you can see is happening on mine. But all the time you've got them within your shoes or your slippers at home or whatever you do. I know people that have bought 3 or 4 pairs and put them in different shoes and slippers or whatever, or people just take them out of their shoes when they finish and they put them in their slippers at home. It doesn't really matter whatever. So from that point of view, you get the treatment all the way through. And there are people, believe it or not, who actually wear those at night. They'll put them in a pair of socks, go to bed, sleep with them, and they get the 8 hours or whatever they're sleeping as treatment from them insoles. So they are quite versatile. As I say, you will need to replace them every 2 or 3 years. They work out around about £29 a pair. So for what they do, they're pretty good. So that we're talking about at the moment, static magnets. And what I'd like to do is a demonstration. Are you happy to come up and just take your shoes off and do this? Right, if you're, where's my insoles?